So we're live for realsies now. Recording, I think. Mic should be a little bit louder this time. All right, so I need your attention very briefly before I give you guys a lot of work time, as well as help you. Hi, good morning. Help you guys individually. All right, as we do like the walk around stuff, we're talking about project 7.3 today, which builds off of the work that you've done for 7.1 and 2, talking about like shape building with a focus on app icons, because now you'll get the chance to design your own custom version. Hendrix and I have decided that we're going to stick to some of the options that we've provided for this example. But in the future, with these skills, you can create your own icons for whatever app you have in mind. You can redesign some existing ones. Hold on, I take a breath, sorry. But for the purpose of this assignment, stick to the provided options. And then if you're looking for some extra practice, you can come up with your own in the future. So what is 7.3 even asking of you before we start really talking about some of these options provided? 7.3 is designing your own custom app icon, focusing on still, we're in the element of design space, working with those positive and negative spaces. I'll give you an example today of something called balance, which is a very easy way to communicate positive and negative space. And then your deliverables are just choosing one of the following challenge options. So by Friday, all you need to have created is one icon, one app icon, sticking with the things that we've covered throughout the other units of making sure you have some type of messaging, making sure, hi, good morning. It's clearly communicating the thing that it's like related to, all the usual graphic design kind of pillars that hold up the art form as a whole. So what you guys are doing is choosing one of these options, like developing an app icon for food delivery service that captures the essence of delicious cuisine and convenience. So those two things are going to have associated messaging, right? When we think back to our original logo project back in Unit 2, I was really heavy on things are going to communicate things without you even intending them or realizing it, because everything has both kind of an indirect and a direct message. So if you're thinking about food delivery that captures the essence of delicious cuisine, that's one thing you'll be communicating. And convenience is another thing that you'll be communicating. And you'll get to choose how you emphasize the deliciousness of the cuisine or the convenience, right? Same thing with option 2, mobile weather application that has simplicity and functionality. You know, travel and exploration, personal finance and budgeting, financial stability, blah, blah, blah. 7 options for you to choose here. And you do need to put which option you're choosing on your artboard before you submit it. We got our usual, not our usual rubric actually, but the things that Mr. Hendricks and I are looking for is that the icon is designed, or the design is relevant to the option. So if you're making a fitness or workout tracker that has aspects of the delicious cuisine and convenience, it's not going to quite communicate what we're looking for here. So your design needs to be relevant to the option that you chose, 1 through 7. It should balance simplicity with complexity. That's positive and negative space. Your complexity is going to live at that focal point, that main sort of draw for your viewer's eye, whereas the simplicity is going to not take away from the, thank you, good morning. Not take away from the, what am I trying to say here? The point of the positive space. These are the different kind of things that we're looking for per app challenge. It doesn't all have to be simple or functional or modern and clean. You can do different directions for some of these. Use of positive, negative spaces. We've got some practice with that. I have some more resources provided for you today that explain it, as well as what I'm about to demo for you. And it should be recognizable on a small screen and easy to understand so that you know, even if you don't speak the language that the phone is set in or the website is currently coded with, you can guess what the app might do. All right. This is something that's going to help you kind of understand the apps that we use every day and look at them maybe in a little bit of a different light, because now you'll understand some of the aspects of how they're communicating the thing that they're trying to communicate. But the thing I want to show you real quick before you get into your design process are the 2 major types of balance, which is the way that you can really make this positive negative space relationship work well for you. So I'm going to open up Illustrator as a demo. You don't have to follow me for this point, but because I'm just showing off stuff. If we have just a sum file, do my classic 5x5, And make sure my window is set to the correct thing. I'm gonna reset essentials. Okay, bless you. There are two main types of balance. There is symmetrical. See if I can spell this right on the first time. Symmetrical. Okay. Two main types, symmetrical and asymmetrical. If we look at the parts of speech here, the prefix a, right, means without, and without it means with. Sorry, that was confusing. But symmetrical balance is going to be as if you had an app icon that had an equal relationship of stuff on both sides, right? It's balanced in this term that you're traditionally used to the word being balanced. So let's say we have some squares here and here. And then let's say we have some other shapes like a hexagon here and here. While these shapes by themselves related to one another don't particularly communicate anything, I'm going to use my align tool actually to get these nice and lined up with one another. We'll go vertical align center, and we'll go these two, vertical align center, and then I'm going to line these two up with the horizontal as well. So with symmetrical balance, the pieces are equally distributed amongst the available space here. So even if this was, we'll go purple on these two, and then these two are orange, even though the relationship is different in the sense that, you know, it's a different arrangement of the pieces, this still has a symmetrical balance because it has equal amounts on both sides of a meridian or a dividing line, something like this, right? Asymmetrical is going to be the opposite, and it's going to be typically used, or symmetry is typically used to communicate like simplicity, or kind of, it's hard to put into words the vibe that symmetry kind of goes for, but like it's traditionally used to communicate purity, which has benefits and drawbacks to being, you know, is purity not really one thing or another, but that's a different type of philosophical conversation. You guys have seen symmetrical apps like Snapchat has a symmetrical logo. What else has a symmetrical logo? Gmail has a symmetrical logo. It's balancing all the parts within the space equally to give it sort of a kind of relaxed, understandable, easily understandable, equal amount of communication in the space here. Whereas asymmetrical is not inherently bad just because it's not symmetrical. It just is using the balance of weight in a different way. So an asymmetrical is going to have some type of balance relationship where it's more weighted towards one side or towards one section, like if we had these down in the bottom here, while maintaining, that's actually symmetrical. Let me move these to something like this, right? Hopefully this example is making sense, but like by offsetting the balance, by grouping the aspects of your logo together or your icon together into one spot, it's going to draw your viewers' attention towards that specific spot. Like if we think about the Instagram logo is actually asymmetrical because it has that little viewfinder on the top left. It's going to kind of tell your eye to start in the top left and work your way through the middle towards across the lens, right? There's a ton of psychology and like brain power that goes into good graphic design. And then I've included in your thread for the day, included if that's P6, lol. P1. There's this link here called Balancing Graphic Design that goes into more depth on how the elements can be put together to create different types. There's a couple other options here, but the two main ones that I want you guys to focus on are symmetrical and asymmetrical before we start getting into the other ones that are going to outline in a way, in a visual way as well, why we do these specific types of balances and what the benefits of each of them could be. And I'll find a couple more, or I'll be able to find a couple more links up in here that are helpful. But this one definitely kind of helps you understand balance, how it uses space. Like this is an asymmetrical layout because it has the large image on one side and then smaller text on the other. And you can see how your eye kind of hovers towards the large picture before you start reading the informational blurb on the side. So what I want you guys to do today is choose one of these options, 1 through 7. Don't start designing quite yet or immediately out of the gate. Design a little bit later today. When you choose an option, really think about the aspects of that option that you want to communicate. Really break down your message and make sure it's clear before you start doing anything too crazy. And then Mr. Hendricks has included a couple of these notes. So like combine food and delivery and design, not just one or the other. These will help you kind of guide your thinking process, how you communicate your idea with these options. And so this is something, again, this unit has been a lot of you guys trying stuff and kind of seeing how it feels, because my approach is that you should do something and see what works well and doesn't before you start, talking about how it works exactly. And so I'm hoping that is translating well to your guys' work so far. Okay, I will quit talking. I'll let you guys get to it. This is due Friday at midnight with a deadline of the 7th of June. So you can turn it in up until that point. 50% of your grade, it's in the projects category. And this is the last thing we're working on this week until we start something new next week. Depending on how much finished you guys get done by Friday, I'll think about extensions, but I think you guys have enough time if you use it wisely. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on what I'm asking with 7.3 at the current state? I'll help you with your individual ones. But for the most part, I want you guys to just kind of get started. We all good? All right, sweet. Thank you guys for listening. I will let you get to it, and I'll be wandering around. Thank you so much. We're off the air, so you can get your stuff.